A very warm welcome to everybody here, the corporate partners, the startups, hopefully the new corporate partners for 2019, and the new investments in 2019. Very happy to have you guys here. As usual, we have folks from all around the world. Thank you for making the long trip. Hopefully it'll be a productive day for everybody. We're going to start with a quick video from our fall summit. It's about 2 minutes long, and then we'll go into our opening remarks.
Welcome to our Winter Summit. I hope you will have an inspiring journey in the next 3 days.
So I guess that was our Winter Summit video, not fall. Apologize for that. Again, thank you for being here. 2018 was, for Plug and Play globally, a year of expansion in terms of new offices in new geographic locations with new accelerator programs, and I think it's no different for the travel program. So 2018, we think it was a year of expansion and maturity for the program. In fact, the batch 6 startups that are presenting to you guys today, we were told by corporate partners, investors, in terms of the quality of the startups, the diversity of the startups, was in fact the best batch we've had to date for the travel program. So we're very excited for what we accomplished with all your help and the startups' help in 2018. And I would say on behalf of the entire team, we're even more excited about what we're going to achieve in 2019. And I need a clicker up here to go through the slides. Thanks. So with that, just wanted to highlight our existing corporate partners. Very happy to have JetBlue here. You guys will be hearing from Bonnie Simi, the president of JetBlue Technology Ventures, in the keynote, and she will be part of the panel followed by that. And very excited to have the 3 highlighted corporate partners here come on board since our June summit. First of all, Ctrip out of China. We're very excited as our first OTA to have them on board as an anchor partner. TUI Group, who's been affiliated with us for a while now as an ecosystem partner. They have decided to become an anchor partner in the travel program out of Silicon Valley. And last but not least, Easy Group, the parent company of EasyJet and a number of other Easy-affiliated companies. We had the pleasure of spending time with the chairman and the founder last week, and it was an inspiring meeting, and it was probably one of the fastest corporate partners to join us. So we're very excited to have them on board. On the investment front, if you guys remember from our summer summit, our goal was to invest in 10 startups in the travel industry in 2018. We're not quite there yet, but we do have a couple of more startups that we are looking at aggressively, and hopefully we'll hit that number before the end of the year. So on the investment front, I would say we definitely hit our target. The goal for 2019 is to actually invest in 20 startups with Saeed's permission, but hopefully we'll be able to hit that target. This is the part of the practice that I truly enjoy, and hopefully we'll be able to hit that metric in 2019. So as part of our expansion plans, both globally as well as the travel and hospitality practice, you guys see a bunch of new names and faces here. Everybody knows Saeed. You guys know me, hopefully. My new business partner, Leo Chen, who I had the pleasure of working with at Nor1 during my tenure there, joined us as a managing director, a phenomenal addition to the team. Jordan Bray doesn't deserve an introduction since he's the most famous guy on the team already. Angela Shi, she joined us about a month ago out of Stanford. We are delighted to have her on board as our venture associate, and I think she's going to be a power player in our practice in 2019 and going forward. Anna Klut, really the glue for our practice. She really makes the practice go around. She's our program manager. Her role may be changing in 2019, so stay tuned for that. She'll still be with the travel team. Patricia Nordstrom, if you guys remember, we held an event in Singapore earlier this year to expand the travel program into APAC, and Patricia has been instrumental in getting that practice off the ground. Irene Wang, she's in the audience here today. She's heading our travel program out of China with the help of Jessica Zhu. And last but not least, Pierre Pastro, who's also here. He's going to be hopefully launching our travel program in Europe in early 2019. With that, I would love to invite Leo Chen on stage to continue the opening remarks and talk about the batches and the panel and the keynote. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's been 2.5 years since Amir started this practice at Plug and Play as one of the 14 verticals supported globally as holistically the innovation platform for corporations and startups. After 2.5 years, we've accelerated over 95 startups and across 5 different batches. So today here, we're with 18 different startups celebrating the grand finale of batch 6. As far as the technical areas are concerned, these startups cover a very broad range of technical interests, among which you will see startups focusing on operational efficiency, security and safety, personalization and loyalty. Last but not least, when it comes to things that are related to fintech, etc. For travel in general, we thought it would be worthwhile for us to spend just a couple minutes on the trends as well as investing. 2018 has been an interesting year in the sense that travel came back in a big way as far as getting attention from the investors are concerned. During the first half of 2018, according to CB Insights, travel as an industry was able to draw more or less $4.5 billion US away from the investors as far as travel tech startups are concerned. And then compare that number to 2017. For the entire year of 2017, the travel startups were able to draw more or less $5.3 billion US. And according to the latest research paper from Focusrite, they were able to track more or less close to 2,000 startups globally involving the travel tech space, and out of which pretty much overall they were able to draw about $19 billion US. So if we were to put those numbers into some perspectives, as far as VC activities are concerned for 2018, on a quarterly basis, globally, VC managed to pull in about $50 billion US on a quarterly basis. So if this trend continues, we're going to end the year with more or less $200 billion US invested into startups, period. But for travel, as the oldest and largest industry in the entire world, we have a lot to do. I think for now, if we were to get more or less $10 billion US in out of a ballpark number, $200 billion US, we're making a very small fraction of the overall VC activities. But nonetheless, you see these names coming up on the big screen. In the airline distribution space, for the last few years, there have not been much M&A activities at all, but Farelogix was acquired by Sabre for about $350 million. And that is considered a record-breaking number within that space. And for those of you that are not familiar with Farelogix, this is basically considered a victory of something called NDC, which stands for New Distribution Capabilities, something that really got started between Farelogix and American Airlines back in 2012, when the two parties came together and set up a list of new standards for distributing airline tickets, as well as ancillary upsell and cross-sell. In addition to that, I think one thing that we did not put on the big screen that is noteworthy is Amadeus' acquisition of TravelClick for $1 billion that happened in early summer of 2018. Also in the business corporate travel space, when it comes to travel management companies, it's worth noting that TripActions, as well as TravelPerk out of Europe, got a lot of attention recently. And TripActions joined this in-destination experience aggregator called Klook to become the latest addition to the unicorn club out of travel and hospitality. Both companies are valued north of $1 billion now. Outside of that, you see a huge wave of European startups coming back, raising a lot of capitals on the other side of the ocean. The listed names here include Tourradar, GoEuro, and Evanios. So you're talking about companies out of Germany, companies out of Austria, companies out of France. And with all these things combined, I think it is a good time for travel startups to raise money, and it's also a great time for folks on the corporation side to keep an eye on these emerging tech providers when it comes to their business models, when it comes to their innovative ideas. For today's celebration with our Batch 6 startups, what would help us tremendously is for all of you to open up this URL at a later time during the show so that you get to cast your vote to these startups. What we will do at the end of the session is to do a quick voting process, making sure everybody gets a chance to put their vote in on their cell phone. And if you need Wi-Fi, obviously just select PMP events. No password is required. Once you're in this particular URL, you should be able to see something called voting. Just click on that, and you will see a list of startups that are presenting today for travel and hospitality out of Batch 6. So for today, before we get all the startups come on stage and do their pitch, we do want to kind of have a deeper look into the travel space from the CVC perspective, as well as something that is a little bit more futuristic. And it is with great honor for me to introduce Bonnie Simi, president of JetBlue Tech Ventures, as our keynote for today. And she will also be joined by several other entrepreneurs to be on our panel to talk about the future of travel and hospitality as well. And you will see companies focusing on building hotels in the outer space. You will see companies focusing on building these all-electric, compact aircrafts that are capable of doing these vertical takeoffs and landings. But for Bonnie, I had the pleasure of knowing Bonnie both as a startup as well as a corporate, I would say, customer from the plug-and-play side. For those of you that have not heard of JetBlue Tech Ventures, it's a company that more or less got started by Bonnie single-handedly. And Bonnie was previously a pilot, a TV broadcaster, as well as an Olympian. So without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to Bonnie Simi.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, much appreciated.
My pleasure.
So yeah, as Leo mentioned, I had a wonderful opportunity. He came in and was working on a startup in the revenue management space in hospitality. And a little known fact, but you'll learn a little bit more about what we do. JetBlue Technology Ventures is not just about aviation. It's also the entire travel industry. So we were working with Leo on the revenue management space. So today I'm going to spend about 15 minutes and give you a landscape of the travel tech from a couple of different perspectives. About half the audience here today is on the corporate side, our established companies, I should say, and the other half, of course, are entrepreneurs. So I'm going to straddle both sides to give you a little bit of tips and how to engage together. Now, it's interesting, the partnership with Plug and Play. So we launched JetBlue Technology Ventures. We first started scouting it out in late 2015. And I was sort of given the mandate from JetBlue. I've been at JetBlue for 15 years in a variety of different roles, mostly operations, airport, call center operations, system operations, flight operations, and I am still an active captain. I am a 190 captain. I just flew last week JFK to Buffalo. That's one of my often routes, and JFK Tampa and Orlando, DC to Boston. So there you go. You may see me on flights. I fly typically twice a month. So at any rate, I came out here. I'm originally from the Bay Area, moved here when Silicon Valley didn't really have a whole lot of silicon yet, and it was more orchards, and started my undergraduate career at Stanford. And since then, as many who move here, you just never want to leave. So even though I've been working for JetBlue for 15 years, I've basically been living in the Bay Area the entire time. So when I came out here looking for what's happening in travel tech, I will never forget this date, Amir. It was December 9th, 2015. That was the launch day of the travel tech vertical for Plug and Play. It was the first official, we hadn't announced JetBlue Technology Ventures yet, but it was the first official event that we went to. And so this journey of over the last 5 years has been in partnership with Plug and Play, and I'll kind of walk through that journey. So first of all, I know some of you are from here, but a quick orientation for those of you who are not. Silicon Valley, I've kind of put a picture here in terms of where the airports are. When we think of it as a valley, it's not really a valley. I guess you could somewhat say that's the San Francisco Bay. In the middle where the fog is the ocean, and then there's a little bit of hills on the other side. But it really is amazing in terms of the technology. You think originally a lot of the, it was started down in sort of Intel area down here in Santa Clara, and then gradually started moving up. We had Apple, Facebook, and Google, and it's been migrating even more up to San Francisco. So if you think about what is Silicon Valley, it really does span from San Francisco down to San Jose. And now it's starting to move more and more over onto the East Bay as well. And just in terms of locations, we are at Plug and Play here in Sunnyvale, right in the middle of where some of the established players are. JetBlue Technology Ventures, we are located at an airport that a lot of people don't realize actually exists, a small airport called San Carlos Airport, right along 101. So I encourage you, as you're driving up 101 to San Francisco, you'll see a Hiller Aviation Museum, and right next to that is where JetBlue Technology Ventures is. So why did JetBlue start a venture arm in the first place? Well, first of all, innovation, it's in our DNA. We're 19 years old now, a relative youngster in the aviation industry, and known as a bit of a disruptor. But now we're almost old school, it seems. And so our leadership was thinking, well, innovation is only as good as whatever is the next innovation. And how do we get out of our own way? And so the idea was to think about innovation from the outside in, as opposed to, we have an awesome team internally that does a lot of innovation, but we really wanted to think about innovation from the outside in. And there's a couple of business imperatives as to why. So JetBlue, for those of you who don't know, we're mostly on the East Coast and down into the Caribbean and Latin America and on the West Coast. 103 cities. It's still very small, though, when you think about it. We are 5% of the US market. It's all public numbers, so I'm not sharing anything secret here. If you are a 5% player in an industry with very large other players, how do you think you will be around in 50 years? We intend to be around in 50 years, and so we want to be sure that we are on the leading edge, and through innovation is one of those ways, in a broad sense, not just in aviation. And one of the examples that I say about this is, imagine 75 years ago, what was Walt Disney? Walt Disney was an amazing man with a vision. He had a mouse in a cartoon. What is Disney now? Much more than just that. So what is JetBlue? We have this awesome brand, and how do we think about JetBlue in the entire travel landscape? Another thing that's important in this element is that disruption is really accelerating. And this is for all the entrepreneurs. It is so much easier now to create a startup than it used to be even 10 years ago. Whether you've got Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, you've got APIs everywhere, you've got NDC, all of these things, and so it's so much easier. And at least right now, funding is also relatively easy to get. I will say relatively, compared to, say, 10 years ago. So there's a lot of startups that are happening. The next thing is, and the startups really do want to be disrupting the Fortune 500, which that's okay. JetBlue is a disruptor as well. If you actually think of 50 years, and I use that as an example to be around, if we look at the Fortune 500 now, only 12% were around 50 years ago. And what are some of those disruptive forces? So people think of the internet. When it comes to travel, it's very much around mobile and mobile devices. I'm going to give an example. So it was in 2007, only 11 years ago, that Apple came up with the iPhone. That is something far more disruptive, I believe, than even the internet. It built upon it, if you will. So in 2007, the top 5 global companies were big, large, oil, gas, automakers, the youngest of which being Walmart was born in 1962. Just 11 years later. And this is as of yesterday, because I looked it up because Apple and Microsoft and Amazon keep kind of flipping around. These are the top 5 companies as of yesterday in the US. About a month ago, I would have had Facebook on there as well, but that looks like Berkshire Hathaway has moved in and Facebook have moved out of the top 5. But look at the difference there. It's very much around technology. So this is a business imperative for everyone to be thinking about this. All right, so let's think about the startups. This is an actual slide from Airbnb 9 years ago. They were coming out in the Valley. There were 3 guys from Rhode Island, not your typical Silicon Valley startup guys, and they were trying to raise $500,000 so that they could do a test with 80,000 trips or customers, if you will, and they would raise $2 million. They would get $2 million in revenue. People thought they were crazy. Who would let a stranger in your house? They went to 83 venture capital firms, I believe, Saeed. Saeed, they came to you, didn't they? And you said they were crazy, didn't you? So even Plug and Play passed on them. But Y Combinator gave them a last-ditch effort. They got $100,000 for 7% of the company. Amazing, huh? That company, I think the latest valuation now is $32 billion. Putting that in perspective, JetBlue's market cap right now, granted, valuation for a private company is a little different than market cap. I'll call it apples and pears instead of apples and oranges. JetBlue's market cap is $6 billion. Airbnb's is $32 billion. Now you understand why we're in this travel tech ecosystem. All right, so what should we be looking at? What should we be investing in? It's a constantly evolving scene, and I like to think about it as whatever is happening here right now at any given time will be mainstream in 5 years. So, and to kind of think about that and to prove that, if we go back in time and we go back to 2004 to 2006, who were those crazy people that people thought, why are they doing it? And then what happened 5 years later? So in 2004, 2006, the big thing was social. These were the ones, the crazy folks, and people thought there was Facebook. Who would want to post whatever they're doing online? And of course, we can see there how far they've come. So that was really the first sort of killer app, if you will, for the internet. That in terms of, and also the starting of e-commerce. Then we move forward. The next disruptive thing that happened, as I mentioned, was mobile. So what did mobile enable? So what mobile enabled was on-demand. So on-demand became the big area. This is where Uber, Airbnb, TaskRabbit, which is now purchased by IKEA. So that was kind of it. And it took about 5 years. So it used to take 10 years, 20 years for things to mature and get global. Now it's about 5. So what is happening right now? What are the technologies that are happening now that if you're in Silicon Valley, you're living and breathing it every day, and if you're not in Silicon Valley or in some of the other entrepreneurial ecosystems, you have Singapore, you have Berlin, you have Tel Aviv, Beijing, if you're not in one of those areas, what are the things that you should be looking at? Because if you're in one of those areas, you are looking at them. It's AI, artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, mobility being everything that's moved. We're talking, the ground transportation, and I think later on the panel we'll be talking about mobility 1 foot up from the ground and all the way up to hundreds of miles in the air, and then blockchain. So these are the areas, and as for us, JetBlue Technology Ventures, one way for us to get really smart about these technologies is that we invest in companies. So as an example, in the mobility space, we're very bullish on eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing, which you'll hear more about today. We've invested in Joby Aero. Flyer was our very first investment, and it is a company that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning for revenue management. Also have co-invested with Plug and Play. And then Gladly, which is using a lot of data, if you will, and machine learning around customer service. And you will be hearing from Gladly later today. So this is why we're doing it. Some technologies that I think are important for everyone to get to know: blockchain, AI, ML. I've also tossed in biometrics. And then in terms of the AR, VR in the travel space, actually even enterprise in general, we're very bullish on AR more so than VR, so augmented reality as opposed to virtual reality. So what's happening now? The giants, these corporates who are being disrupted, are starting to wake up. And a lot of you are in the room right now. And in fact, over 50% of unicorns, so those companies that made $1 billion before going public, called a unicorn, are backed by a corporate VC. And so that's what JetBlue Technology Ventures is. We incubate, invest, and partner with early-stage startup at the intersection of travel and technology. Early stage, we have investments on the pre-seed, and we go all the way up to C and D rounds. But in general, Series A is kind of where we tend to congregate, if you will. This is one of my favorite slides for those who know me. This is an actual picture, which I took. It is the heads-up display from the left seat of an Embraer 190, but it is very illustrative of what we do. I like to think about us looking beyond the horizon, that 30,000-foot view. This is actually 31,140 feet, to be exact, and climbing. But it's beyond the horizon, but firmly grounded in reality. So this is how we operate. We scan the worldwide ecosystem for startups, and we incubate, and then sometimes we bring some technologies to JetBlue that we don't actually invest in for a variety of reasons. Maybe they weren't fundraising, but are relevant for JetBlue. The areas. So we don't invest in technology for technology's sake. There are a lot of venture firms who do, and that is a definite investment thesis. We're going to be a blockchain fund, or we're going to be a machine learning fund. But because we're a corporate VC, we invest in the use cases of that technology. So things like the seamless journey from the moment you think about travel until you come back. Or technology-powered magnificent service. This is where, how do we empower our employees, our crew members, to deliver great service? This is where Gladly comes in, by the way. Future of maintenance and operations. This is very specific to aviation. Quite a few. Innovation, loyalty, distribution, and this is where revenue, this is a lot around blockchain and machine learning. We're finding some interesting stuff. And my favorite, evolving regional travel. So we'll cover a little bit about that on the panel today. So this is a little slide specifically for the entrepreneurs in the room. This is an exact numbers of our funnel, if you will. The funnel of, and this is as of last month. So we're trying to hit 4,000 startups over the last 3 years. We'll probably close at 4,000. So 4,000 startups we've seen either through engagements like this or reaching out to us directly. And yes, startups reach out to us directly right on our website. I have a team that looks at that. Immediately, because now that you know, and anybody who goes to our website will see these themes, we don't invest in aircraft seats. for example. That doesn't fit into our theme. We don't invest in healthcare. We don't invest in a variety of things. So right away, about 2/3 of them are out of scope for us. And then my team does a desktop review. This is where they go to your website. They go to PitchBook. They go to CB Insights, they go to AngelList, they look at all your online presence. So your online presence is incredibly important if you're not stealth. If you're stealth, that's a different story. But be sure that you go out and Google yourself because that's what my team is doing. We then cut it down even more. Then they do phone calls and some due diligence. And then we'll get it down to about 300, so about 1/10 of the startups will actually come in and meet with the team, and we spend a lot more time. Then we get down, we're at 72. What is full due diligence? This is one of the services that a lot of CVCs provide to the startup community. Since most CVCs are public companies, we have to make sure we have good due diligence. CVCs can move quickly. It's becoming more that you can move quickly. Once you get past a CVC's due diligence, you're very well set up for a Series A with any venture firm out there. And then, of course, we've invested in 21. So this is that process, that when you get to the in-person review, this is that pitch. The pitch is so incredibly important, which you'll see later today. We source them from all over. I will call out Plug and Play again. So I will say out of that 3,000 startups, probably 600 of them have come through various channels through Plug and Play. So how do you engage in Silicon Valley, and how does Silicon Valley engage with you? So this is both sides of the coin. First of all, if you have not yet spent a lot of time, you need to observe. Coming to these events makes a huge difference. Whether you are a startup trying to pitch or whether you are a corporate looking into the area, just observe. The more you can see how as entrepreneurs, the more you can see how other companies pitch, the better you're set up to pitch to corporates. It's a slightly different way of pitching than to regular venture capitalists. Next, partner. Working through, you don't need to invest. Whether you're a corporate, you can just work together on proof of concepts. Startups very much enjoy doing that. And if you're a startup, be sure you seek out the CVCs to help you plug into the corporate at the right place. And then lastly, of course, invest. The last few slides I'm going to click through very quickly. I just want to point out, these are companies that we have co-invested or we discovered through Plug and Play. Gladly, which you will hear from later today. Climacell, also later today. Lumo, we've co-invested. Very early stage startup, came in and they won the spring's event, or the summer event, I should say. Flyer, our first investment. Unicoero, it's a baggage company. Mozio, also a very early investment. And you can see these are all across the spectrum. Recharge in the hospitality space. And with that, these are the startups that we have partnered with. I will encourage you, this deck will be available, so you can reach out to Jordan. I saw several people wanting to take a picture of the slides. Just reach out to Jordan. He can let you have the deck. I leave it open. Also, if you would like to go to our website, we have a newsletter that we send out every week on Mondays that gives you a sense of what is the emerging trends. I highly encourage you to sign up to the newsletter. We put everything out, not just stuff about us, but if you want to learn about blockchain or 5G or biometrics or anything. With that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Amir, who will kick off the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. I just wanted to put a personal note out there. I remember when Saeed started Plug and Play in 2006. This was a completely dark building, and we were trying to motivate startups to take a chance on us and sit in a cubicle, perhaps next to their competition, and use it as a co-working space. So you can imagine the struggles we went through to make the co-working space in its current environment fall into place, motivate startups to move into the building so we could pay our mortgage. So those startups that took a chance on us early on will always have a special place in our hearts. And I want to draw a parallel to JetBlue Technology Ventures. We launched officially the travel program in early 2016. and Bonnie was one of the first risk takers on Plug and Play Travel. So I personally wanted to thank you. I'm glad it's been a fruitful partnership and looking forward to a fantastic 2019 with you guys. Thank you. With that, I want to invite Angela Shi, our venture associate for the travel program, who will be moderating the panel. Thank you.
So imagine this. You just landed from your 10-hour international flight, whether you're in Manchester or Gatwick or Changi Airport. And instead of taking a taxi, that'll take you probably an hour to get to the city center, you hop on an air taxi. That'll take you to anywhere, your home, your city center, anywhere you want within 10 minutes. How many of you would like that? And let me kick off with another question then. How many of you would like to see yourself traveling to space in your lifetime? I certainly would. Well, for many of you who raised your hand and the ones who's hesitant, buckle up, you're in for a ride. What we have here is a panel of visionaries who are creating and investing in that new travel reality for us. So without further ado, let me kick it off with a quick introduction. Why don't we start with Olivier?
So hello, my name is Olivier Lelanne. We have created EVA, and we are making an electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. So it's compact. That's the main difference with any other competitor. We can take off literally from the parking lot. And from here, you are 5 minutes away from Union Square. Or if you want to go shopping in Santa Monica on the 3rd Street, you are just 55 minutes away. So this is a new reality which is coming very fast. Our aircraft is developed in Toulouse. It's a city where Airbus is building its aircraft. We went there for talent, but we are more and more welcome in the Valley. So I would say maybe the HQ could be based in the future in California.
Hi there, my name is Frank Bunger. I'm CEO and founder of Orionspan. Orionspan is building the world's first luxury space hotel. Soon enough, we will be selling exclusive experiences to travel to space for 12 days for a life-changing experience that is something that you can have nowhere else in the known universe. The broader vision here, however, is bigger than that. If you think back to the period after World War II, 30, 40 years after World War II, a time when the former enemies of World War II, including my own home nation, Germany, came together. The United States, Germany, Japan, Soviet Union, many more nations came together and decided to do something that was considered impossible, to build a space station in low Earth orbit. So that's what the International Space Station became. And if you follow the space business in the last 10 to 15 years, as rocket launch has become privatized, the next step is for destinations like Orionspan to become privatized. So that's what we're doing. We're building the next step for human civilization to actually live and work in space in the long run. It starts with an exclusive visit to space.
And you already know me, so.
Great. So Bonnie, you mentioned earlier in your presentation that one of the key investment for JetBlue is regional travel. Can you talk a little bit about what you foresee in the next 5-10 years as that new future for us?
Certainly, and so as my team knows, the theme, as I mentioned, we have 5 themes. The regional travel ecosystem is my personal favorite. It's one that I'm very, very passionate about. And again, when I talk about that 50 years horizon, and the question, so one of the mandates for us as we are building our CVC, and it is really the mandate of any CVC, is what's in the future? What will be disrupted? What is the equivalent of Airbnb to the hotel industry or Uber to the car industry? What is that equivalent of that in the airline industry? Will airlines still exist in 50 years? So our thesis is that yes, you will still go to San Francisco to get on a airline, hopefully JetBlue to fly a distance. We believe it will be long-haul travel. So we believe you will go to San Francisco to fly to London, to New York. But when you're talking 1,000 miles and less, it's a little bit different. The technologies for the longer haul, there will be some change in that. There might be galactic flight. I don't think it'll be mainstream. I'm really looking forward to yours. But not necessarily mainstream. There may be supersonic flight as well. But in terms of the mainstream traveler, what will disrupt, we believe it's in the regional. Because quite frankly, regional airlines in particular, that whole model is broken. You go to the airport, you take an hour to get through security, to get on a plane that's really little, that's kind of noisy, and for a 30-minute flight, and then you're landing somewhere, it's just like, you've got to think of it differently. And so for us, when we think about, there are 5,000 airports in the US, only 160 of them have commercial travel, and it's getting less and less. It's becoming more and more concentrated. There are, of those airports, those small airports like where our headquarters are, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of aircraft that are underutilized, only 1 hour a day. And airlines use their aircraft 11 hours a day. There are a lot of pilots, even with a pilot shortage, that are sitting because they're corporate jets. These are very underutilized. So we believe that there's a marketplace model. That's one area. We believe also the reason that short-haul travel has not been is not cost-effective in the airline space is because of the engines. The engines, or the propulsion system, if you will. It's very expensive to operate with gas and combustion engines. And so if we take what Tesla has done, if you will, in the auto industry, I have a Tesla, I've had it for 4 years. I don't bring it into to be fixed because it's never broken, and I don't need gas. So it's the same thing. So electric propulsion, and then, so fixed wing electric propulsion, we have an investment in that space, as well as electric vertical takeoff and landing. When we started looking into this space about 3 years ago, there were about 20 players. There's now, I want to say, 130 or more. All the big companies are getting involved, and we do believe, we absolutely positively believe, that in 5 years there will be certified aircraft for commercial travel that you take off vertically and you fly horizontally. For us, we're an investor in Joby. We think they're the one, we're betting on them, but EVA's got another good Raypon's concept. There's a lot of really good players. This will happen. I'm also hoping yours does.
And Olivier, do you have anything to add to the regional travel?
I think we are very much aligned. There will be, instead of, I was mentioning going to Santa Monica. Well, if you go to the airport with traffic jam and you go through the airport and you fly, and again you have the 4 or 5, I guess, in LA to go to Santa Monica, it takes 5 hours from point A to point B. So obviously, for a person to travel in less than an hour is making a huge difference. It's going to make a huge difference for business. We have, for instance, corporate customers in Asia, and when people fly to take some vacation in Indonesia or Thailand, they don't want to have 1 hour of taxi drive to go to their hotel. They want to go there in 5 minutes. So we are going to go to more autonomous flight also. This is what we believe. We have meetings this week on AI side because, well, it's reducing the cost of travel to a cost which is less than basically $1 per kilometer. The batteries, progress in batteries will make that this cost will go even down, more down. So the operating cost is going to go down, and the joy of traveling is going to increase, because so far I don't think we enjoy being in traffic, stuck for 1 hour. So we bring a solution so that travel is enjoyable again.
Great. So now we've covered short haul. Long haul is, okay, kind of boring. But let's skip to the long distance then. Tell us more about space, Frank. In your, when and how are we going to be ready for travel to space?
Sure thing. Well, I think it might seem like it's far off, but it's actually, the time is at hand. Virgin Galactic is probably within a month or two of sending people on suborbital flights. Blue Origin is also not far away. So even they're behind schedule at this point, within a year, there are going to be people doing flights to or near orbit routinely. So that time is now. And it seems crazy, but it's coming. And I've spoken with those people, and it's very, very exciting. So the next step is then to have launch to orbit for private individuals, and that's also not far away, because SpaceX is extremely close to testing their commercial crew module intended to deliver passengers to the ISS, but it can go anywhere, obviously. Blue Origin also will be doing that in the future, and there are a bunch of other players coming online doing the same thing. So to me, this is all about, like the Wayne Gretzky quote, skating to where the puck is going. within 2 years, there will be commercial access to orbit, high altitude orbit. So we're talking about above 100 miles, not just suborbital flights, and it's going to become safe and routine. Within 5 years, there's more and more capacity. There's more and more flights. People start to feel more comfortable with it. So, what I've experienced is that it's hard for people to imagine that things could be different. And the Airbnb example is a great one because, it seems crazy, but now it's routine. So it's the same thing. Life and technology changes and moves forward. It's just all about catching those trends and those waves.
I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out for Frank. As I mentioned, at JetBlue Technology Ventures, we go to a lot of different pitch competitions, and we like to start following startups very, very early on. And I went to a pitch competition, I want to say it was about 2 months ago. You didn't even know I was there. In the audience, about like this, and it was from a VC firm called Pear Ventures, which invests in really early, like the first money in for some Stanford grads, and they're from Stanford. And space is not in our scope, so it falls out. So this is more of, I'm a fan club here. Frank got up and gave a pitch, and I said, if I were an investor in space, I absolutely would be reaching out to Frank. So although you don't get to pitch today, I'm doing some of that pitch for you. If any of you are interested in space, I highly encourage you to see what they're doing and hear his pitch. Out of all the entrepreneurs there, I was most impressed. So.
Speaking of pitching crazy ideas, all of you have been very successful at convincing either your partners or investors. Some of those we might think of unimaginable projects. So can you share a story with us on how you were able to have those conversations and any lesson learned from those?
Sure, I'll go first. So for us, Pear Ventures was indeed one of the first money, and we're also participants in the Berkeley Skydeck program. I'm a Berkeley alum myself. So I think for us it's both it's even harder to find money than Airbnb had because it's not just a web application, but it's all about both the vision and demonstrating that the trends are aligning, but of course the economics, right? The economics, the beauty of the space business is that check sizes are in the tens of millions of dollars. It is an expensive endeavor today. So that's, you have to show that you have a model that's likely to work, and obviously it's a startup, so no one knows for sure. But it's all about, to me, I think, demonstrating both. And I'd like to put one plug in also that although we're funded by Pear, we're also formally raising a seed round. So come chat with me afterwards.
Like a true entrepreneur, absolutely. I'll give a little story. So for us, probably the largest friction, if you will, or the toughest road for us is not about finding the great startups. We have amazing startups and great partners, but it's actually selling our startups to our parent company. So why would a entrepreneur want to get money from us? Well, they want to get money from us so that we can introduce them to JetBlue or some of our partners and help get them so that they can deploy, so that we can be a customer. Well, the airline industry and the hotel industry and several other industries, the margins are really thin, and everybody's on a budget crunch, and everybody's worried about getting that flight out today safely on time, and it's very operational and very, it's hard to be thinking about something that might happen 2 or 3 years later. So for us, I still remember our very first investment. I'm going to bring this up because we've co-invested, again, with Plug and Play, is Flyer, which was, at the time, they showed up here, and I think there were like 3 folks, and when I met them, I think there were like 5. And they were doing a fare lock. So they predict what the airfares would be, and you could pay $10 and lock your fare in, which I thought was interesting. But what I really thought was interesting was how are they able to predict airfares across different airlines, and I thought that was a revolutionary way of thinking about revenue management and different than how revenue management is currently done. So I brought them to our revenue management team, who almost kicked me out of the room and said that these guys are stupid. They don't know what they're doing. How could they possibly be predicting airfares when they don't even know what the supply and demand is? They don't know the supply on the supplier side because they don't have any interface with us. And I said, they're just really smart guys. And so I'm going to invest in these guys. And lo and behold, they are gradually, it's taken time, but we are working with them very, very closely. And it's taken even a change of leadership on our team at JetBlue to kind of get that visibility. And I think part of that is our CEO and our board is so passionate, so incredibly passionate about innovation. And I'm going to say it again. If you are an established company, it is very, very hard to think differently. It just is. And so if you have the pressure from above and us pushing some good ideas, that's the solution. But I have a lot of battle scars from working with different department heads at JetBlue.
Yeah, and I would just add, you need to be lucky, but you need to make that luckiness happen. It's not going to happen if you stay with the best idea and the best product in your garage. You need to make it happen. So yeah, if I'm here this week in the Silicon Valley, it's not because I enjoy the Silicon Valley, but you need to make it happen. And don't spend too much time on dry lands. If you don't spend too much energy with investors that are just going to listen to you but not invest. For instance, for us, we found a lot of great investors in the automotive industry. For the eVTOL company, our VTOL is the size of a SUV, manufacturing process, components, parts, and high margin. This is very appealing to automotive industry. So it doesn't take a lot of time for them to realize, well, that's not our space, but yes, we have a lot of interest in investing in this area. So make your luckiness happen is my message here for this question.
And when it comes to these super futuristic ideas, there's got to be a way to find that balance between what's futuristic versus, what the current market demand is. And Frank, you talked about economics and convincing people. Can you tell us a little bit of, how do you find that balance?
Sure. Well, the area that we're in is a nascent market, so I think the challenge there is slightly greater. But that even there, it's items that are relatively well understood. For example, the International Space Station is at this point a 20-year-old piece of hardware, and all the ISS partners are itchy to get out of it because it costs them a tremendous amount of money. The Trump administration is keen to kill its budget by 2024. It's up in the air. But whether it's 2024 or 2028, it is an old piece of hardware and it can't go on forever. So when it is gone, there is immediately a tremendous market worth billions of dollars that opens up. So whether that's here in about 5 years or if it's 9 years away, there are intermediate ways that we can carry ourselves over the hump in better understood markets like space tourism. And even there, you have to take the official estimates with a grain of salt. Because if you look at space tourism market estimates, for example, the official estimates from research analysts, it's only $1.2 billion by 2022, and that's just flat out wrong. And there's one guy who made that wrong. It's the guy who paid Elon Musk hundreds of millions of dollars for a trip around Mars. So, I think you have to understand your space and your market, and in our case, our market is very spiky and is defined by a small number of extremely wealthy individuals who can outsize and single-handedly drive that market.
And Bonnie, from investor perspective, do you have anything to add in terms of how do you evaluate those type of market opportunities?
Sure. So for us, we do have to straddle this balance. We are funded by JetBlue, and so I have to be very, very mindful. I can't spend all of our investment money on eVTOLs or electric vehicles and stuff. I do need to find where that balance is. So we've actually very structured around it. About 40% of our investments and our partnerships are with startups that are relevant to JetBlue now or in the next 18 months. So I call this keep mothership happy and the CFO happy bucket. And this is where I think companies like Gladly and such, where we're deploying with JetBlue and we're reducing cost, increasing revenue, enhancing safety, or improving customer service. Those are 4 metrics that the airline measures every single day or every month. And so 40% of our portfolio is geared towards that. 60%, which is where I say is this is where the disruption piece is for companies that are so 50% is from 2 to 5 years, and 10% is really that 7 to 10 years out. So that's how we try to be ambidextrous, if you will. How do we support JetBlue now, kind of then just beyond the horizon, and a couple of what we call moonshots.
And Olivier, you know, from your experience of talking to investors and also convincing other partners, what are your strategy or advice you have on striking that balance?
The strategy, honestly, is you don't want to lose your focus. You don't want to ring at every door and send 1,000 applications and saying, out of 1,000, I will have one. So you really need to be focused. And it's a win-win strategy. I mean, we don't see investors as purely investors. We see them, sometimes they bring ideas. We had real estate investors coming to us and saying, well, I'm going to buy land behind this hill where nobody buys land there because it's too far in terms of time. And they buy land there. They will make real estate. And they put VTOL where people who buy the apartment will have this service to go downtown. So it's a collaboration. It's about innovation. So our strategy is more collaborative and purely speaking, you know, carpet sending a lot of emails or website or pitch to a lot of investors. We'd rather focus.
And talking about collaboration, that's what we're all about here at Plug and Play. I would love to hear a little bit from each of you. Do you have any advice for the audience here? How to, you know, from the corporate side, any advice from, especially investor side from Bonnie? What's the best way to collaborate with early stage company? As well as from the entrepreneur side, what are some of the lessons learned you had with collaboration?
Sure. So for us, I'll actually talk about collaboration corporate to corporate first, and I think that's really, really important. There's starting to be emerging a trend within the corporate space where we all are helping each other out. Now, I will say my direct competitors in the airline space, not as much, but if you're just outside of that direct competitors. So we're building out an ecosystem because startups come to us and maybe they can't deploy with just JetBlue because of our budget. Maybe with Air New Zealand is a partner of ours, and so building out and co-investing as well. So we've co-invested with Intel and Boeing and Verizon and Comcast. So there's this ecosystem. So often we'll have a startup come to us and it may be out of scope for us, but I really like the startup, so I'll tell that other CVC. In fact, I just told Frank that I had dinner with the head of Boeing's Horizon X the other day, and I told him about OrionSpan. Who knows if Boeing will reach out to you, but they got a referral from you, right? So we work together. So this is very much a collegial, and this is really what Amir and Saeed and Jordan are doing, is building this sort of collegial group where we all work together. Now, with respect to working with the startups, I kind of see our role is interpreter and translator, because the corporate back at our headquarters, we call it a support center, they don't know or understand the startup world and ecosystem. And the entrepreneurs may not really understand how corporates work. So our role is to play interpreter and to find the right time and the right person. And usually the entrepreneurs are really, really itchy and trying to, they want to engage with JetBlue sooner than JetBlue might be ready. We've had a few that have kind of tried to go around us, and that doesn't work out so well. So we help and find just the right time to introduce, because JetBlue's got 33 different departments. Which department? JetBlue's an airline, and an entrepreneur might say, "Oh, I want to partner with JetBlue," but who do you actually talk to? It's not the CEO. They're not going to answer the email because there's so many emails. So it's like which department head and when is key.
Maybe on this one, so I think for the startup, it's very important to understand the strategy of the corporate investor and what are the problems they might face now or in the future, so that you can address with the best solution. We had a customer in Paris, it's called RATP, they make the public transportation in Paris, like metro, bus. And this market is going to be opened by EU rules, so they need to open to private companies. So they are going to lose a few bus lines, and they are worried about this. So how do you address this concern is that you bring another way to operate mobility with a 3D mobility. You make workshops with them, even with some of their employees, and you convey a message that there is another possibility to make this company flourish. They even came, that's the employee's idea that I really like. They want to make a Chinese tourist in Paris fly above the ring that is surrounding Paris, so that they have a 360 views of Paris, and it's not our idea. So it's very important to put yourself in the corporate company shoes. It's very important for a startup.
So we're almost out of time. I have one more question for all of you. If there's one thing that we as the travel community can help enable future moonshot ideas, what would it be?
You know, I think, and again, I'm going to get to this where we're a family. We're all a family here in this room. And, you know, wherever your priorities are, they may not be aligned necessarily with a particular moonshot. But when you do see someone or you see a startup that you think could be the future, you know, if you can't help them, find somebody who can, so that down the road we collectively can help move things forward. I just had someone send me an electric motorcycle idea, and that's out of scope for us, but I referred that to a friend who's an angel investor, and they're already talking and moving along. So this is just really important to help each other out. That's my message.
I think I would echo Bonnie's point as well. I think the key is for the entrepreneurs is also helping each other, because obviously as an entrepreneur, you're always living on the edge of a knife. So you know, like the quote, right? Stray but a little, and the world will go to ruin. I think it's a quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. But the key is, if an entrepreneur needs help and you know someone who can help them, introduce them, right? Why not? I never hesitate to introduce people to my contacts. And obviously, I really appreciate the return service as well, because I think ultimately, you know, it's hard to predict when you look at, if you think of it from a CVC point of view, or deal flow point of view, it's hard to predict from the top of the funnel what will plop down at the bottom, and out of what plops down at the bottom, which ones will be successful. It's very, very hard to predict that accurately. So I think casting a wide net and attempting to, you know, help people within reason as much as possible is a critical piece.
I think yeah, to echo what has been said, when I was 19 years old, I left France and I went to Berlin, and there was an event happening there at that time in '99, and I went to break the Berlin Wall. So I just had a T-shirt, and believe me, it was freezing, and I was probably the most active person breaking the wall. And actually, what we need in this community, we don't necessarily need you to put everything 20 million or whatever we ask, but we need you to provide this hammer that is going to break this wall and makes a very far idea or moonshot become closer to reality.
And on that note, I like to leave you all with one thing from this panel. And you know, the second that we all realize that we're in the present, that split-second moment, when you notice that, it's already in the past. So let us all embrace future together. And thank you so much to our panelists and their amazing stories today.
Hey guys, we're going to jump right into the startup pitches, so please be seated. Thanks. started right now. So heads up, the first 16 startups, those are the ones you can actually vote for. Those are the startups that are in the batch, and the following 6 are just exciting startups that we're really excited about and we'd like to showcase for you today. But without further ado, allow me to introduce Carlos from Hyper. This startup was named one of the world's most innovative companies of 2018 by Fast Company. Carlos.
Thank you, Jordan. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm stoked to be here. So Hyper is the leading innovator in location-based marketing, particularly for the travel and hospitality industry. And since we joined Plug and Play, these are just a few of the logos that we have added to our customer base since we started. And more than half of these were introduced to us by Plug and Play. So we are thrilled to be here, and thank you to the Plug and Play team for having us as part of this batch. So it's been a great journey so far. And Jordan mentioned that we are one of Fast Company's most innovative companies in 2018. And the reason for that is that for the travel and hospitality space, we are solving a macro problem that the industry has been trying to solve for a long time. As you know, the travel industry has been disrupted, and CEOs in the industry are not mincing words. You know, like they are in an all-out war over who owns the customer, and at the center of that tug of war is customer data. Who owns the customer data? And the digital-only disruptors are disrupting the travel and hospitality industry. So the macro problem that we are solving is for hospitality companies, they do not know more than half of their guests. If the guests book through Expedia or Booking Holdings, they only get a name, a last name, and a reservation number. Hyper does identity resolution and location resolution of those unknown guests. The way that we do that is we built a global geosocial CRM. We filed 7 patents around location resolution and identity resolution of guests on location. And that allows us to see not only the guests that are unknown at, let's say, a Marriott or at a Accor property, but also the guests across every single hotel in the world. We geofence every hotel in the world. We're in the process of geofencing every airport, every cruise ship, and so on. And by doing that, we are capturing the highest value travelers in the world. We believe that we have more data than Expedia Group or Booking Holdings on a monthly basis. We capture tens of millions of travelers, and we have hundreds of millions of travelers. We use all of this data not only to correlate, but ultimately to make it actionable. That global CRM is the brain of Hyper, and we use it to help you acquire high-value travelers in the context of location, engage those travelers, and ultimately, because we have all of this data, we use the data to analyze and benchmark against the hotel across the street and so forth. So lastly, since we also joined Plug and Play, we've closed 2 major partnerships, one with Salesforce and one with Adobe, 2 systems of records that are widely used in the travel and hospitality space. So expect to see a lot more from Hyper in the months to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. This next presenter has earned a PhD in computational linguistics from Stanford University. Please welcome G from Liberia.
Hi, everyone. We are Liberia. Sorry. We are working on natural language processing-based solution that can be used to make search and marketing easier, more precise, and more personal. We are interested in the consumer and enterprise search space because it's a huge market opportunity. However, users' experience is still painful. What I mean by that is, think about last time when we are trying to buy a house or book a hotel or try to find the right home service. In all those scenarios, people tend to spend too much time reading reviews, a lot of unstructured data, and spending a lot of time going through a lot of irrelevant options before they can find what works for them. Wouldn't it be nice if we can give them a search tool that allows them to state exactly what their personal preferences are and return them only the relevant options? That's exactly what Liberio is. The solution sounds intuitive, but as a lot of you know, it's not easy. It's not easy for Liberio as well. We could not have built this over 1.5 years. Our solution is built upon our founding team's over 20 years of research and engineering experience in natural language processing in top institutions such as Stanford, Carnegie Mellon University, Google, Xerox PARC. So this is how it works. With Liberio, people can really just say exactly what they are looking for. For instance, find me a place that is kids-friendly, close to Disneyland, with bunk beds. What about free breakfast and free parking? And Liberio will be able to understand what's your exact preference and return only the options that are relevant. So amazing, right? But how does Liberio know which hotel matches those preferences? Just like humans, how do we know? We spend a lot of time reading reviews or posts to figure out which one actually works. That's exactly what Liberio's engine is doing. Liberio's engine read every single sentence of all of those data around those hotels. The result is we have a huge knowledge graph of all of the hotels in terms of their unique selling points, of course, as well as their weakness. And the same knowledge graph not only powers the search, it can be used to automatically create marketing contents about those hotels as well. So to summarize, we have developed a solution that can make search easier and more precise and more personal. And thanks to Plug and Play, we have the pleasure to have talked and worked with a lot of you in the room even today. And if you are interested, please check us out later at our demo table. We are Liberio, and we make search easier and more personal and more precise. Thank you.
Good job, G. Thanks, G. This next presenter has over 10 years of experience as a senior technical consultant. Please welcome Gareth from Loyal.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and thank you, as always, to Plug and Play for having us. So my name is Gareth Walsh. I am a senior technical consultant and a client success engineer at Loyal. We are a 4-year-old company that seeks to reinvent how incentives are created, awarded, and managed using our proprietary smart contract and blockchain technology. So we're in the 4th generation of our platform, and with it, we bring a host of benefits to customers in a very fragmented market segment, that being loyalty. And the challenges that our customers in the loyalty segment face are many, but first and foremost, we see that a lot of legacy loyalty program platforms are running on architecture that is unable to be as nimble and as responsive as is necessary to respond to the modern requirements of customer and member experience. In our customer engagements, we often see loyalty programs that are running on architecture that is up to 40 years old. And swapping out that architecture wholesale for a new platform without an iterative approach is just not realistic. So there's a huge opportunity there. In fact, the loyalty program, or the loyalty market segment, is growing in double-digit figures year over year. And there are literally hundreds of billions of dollars locked away in those legacy loyalty platforms that our customers can access using an innovative use of our loyalty technology. So what we're illustrating here is what we talk about at Loyal as the Internet of Loyalty, which is our global permission blockchain, which brings together all of our program operators and our earn and redemption partners. So there is a network effect there of each platform or each program that is added to the network, and each of our earn and redemption partners are benefiting from each of those that are added. So we break down our value propositions into 3 segments based on immediate, near-term, and long-term benefits. In the immediate term, we can allow for program operators to add earn and redemption partners in a much quicker fashion than previously was possible, and the IT effort is close to 0. And also in terms of reconciliation and settlement, the idea of having all transactional data on a permission blockchain brings the effort for that reconciliation and settlement down to near 0. We can enhance marketing capabilities with the fact that all transactional and customer behavior data is stored in a member wallet, allowing our program operators to deliver immediate and dynamic member experience to each of their members. And then over the long term, we can allow our customers to reduce their program liability by introducing advanced financial controls by having all of their transactional data stored on our chain. And I'm just about out of time here, and we'll be here today. And also, please find out more at loyal.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Gareth. All right, this next startup was founded by 2 Oxford University grads who sent an email to the CEO of Big Yellow Storage in the UK, who ended up loving their vision, became their first investor. Please welcome Jacob from Stasher.
Hi, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here all the way over from London, England. Yeah, I'm Jacob. I'm the CEO and founder of Stasher. We're building the world's largest urban storage network. What does that mean? To explain, let me tell you the story of how we were founded. So my co-founder, Anthony, we met when we were studying together at Oxford. And he used to live between King's Cross and Euston. I don't know if you're familiar, but they are 2 of the busiest stations in central London. So he always had requests from people asking to leave stuff at his place. And on the one time that it was me, Anthony joked that he would have to charge me for storing my bags. But this joke was a light bulb moment because we suddenly realized that storage in cities is a genuine problem. And at the time, the only people addressing this problem were the station lockers. And there's not very many of them left these days. They're really expensive. And we thought we could do something better. So we set up a platform where people could book to store bags with shops and hotels. Why shops and hotels? A few reasons. For one thing, they have reliable opening hours, certainly more reliable than Anthony's flat. They have CCTV, but most importantly of all, they're desperate for ancillary revenue streams because they're being squeezed by e-commerce, and hotels in particular being squeezed by Airbnb. So the business model is really simple. It's commission-based. We acquire the customers. They take a cut on every bag they store. So that's the idea. But what have we achieved so far? As Jordan said, when we were starting out, we got our sort of first few bags. We started generating traction. Then we sent a cold email to the CEO of Big Yellow Storage. We literally found his email on ceoemails.com. And he wrote back to say he really liked the idea. He loved the vision. He came on board as our first angel investor. So we took it. We scaled it around the UK. That year was amazing. We grew like 30% month on month. And then we started to set our sights internationally. I'm excited to say that in 2018, we've achieved a lot more. So as of last week, we're live in fact, it's over 80 now. It's like nearly 90 cities worldwide. We've won tons of awards, most particularly Expedia's travel startup competition. And off the back of that, the president of Hotels.com will be investing in our next round. We've partnered with some big name brands like Premier Inn and Accor, who are rolling out the storage service across their hotels. And proudest of all, we've stored 150,000 bags with 0 claims to date. So the model's working, but the challenge now really is to scale it. We want to find more big chain suppliers. We found that the Premier Inn and Accor deals work really, really well. It's nice and easy to manage these relationships. And hotels, I think, work really well as well. Customers really sort of, that seems to work really well. Customers like the service. So we're looking to do more like that. And on the demand side, it's the same challenge. We want to find as many referral partners as possible. We rely quite heavily on search at the moment, but what about the customers that don't even think to sort of Google when they have this problem and simply drag their bags around? So we're trying to partner with as many people like Hostmaker, Airbnb management companies, tour operators, anyone like that who can point customers to us at time of need. That's it from me. Time's just run up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob. This next presenter was formerly known as, or she was the head of organization at the largest Ukrainian airport, and now is on to her second startup. Please welcome Katerina from My Duty Free. Here you go.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Katerina. I'm a CEO of My Duty Free. We help airports and airlines increase non-aviation sales. 2/3 of airports lose money. Although passenger numbers are still booming, non-aviation revenues per person are falling across USA and Europe. The average spend per person in the most busy airport is $45, while the same person would spend on Amazon $1,500. Developing non-aviation revenues is now a key strategy for airports. Half of such revenues come from retail. If we inform people in advance about opportunities in the airport and help them to plan a purchase, it will fuel revenue growth. Multi-channel shoppers spend 3 times more than single-channel. My Duty Free brings shops, restaurants, and all the services of the airport online and leads a customer journey from one offer to another. We communicate with passengers in advance, collect data, feedbacks, create personalized offers, and turn unknown clients into loyal ones. We integrate a turnkey marketplace into airport's website, and we can fully operate it from creating content to integrating shops and providing customer support. People go to the airport's website or mydutyfree.net and pre-order products. On the day of their flight, they collect the purchase at the pickup point in the airport. People get discounts and enjoy more hassle-free time in the airport. The average check in our system is $100 compared to $30 in the shop. My Duty Free is the best team to implement such kind of solution. Our greatest advantage is that we already work with 25 duty-free shops in 12 international airports. The monthly turnover is $300,000 with 20% month-over-month growth. Each new airport will benefit from our existing audience, and customers will get discounts in all our locations. We have created an innovative business model when we not only integrate the product but also operate it. We get revenues from license fees and commission from airports' online sales. We are better because our solution is commercially much more effective than others. We serve as an additional source of traffic, and we bring you the benefit from different industry players, connecting duty-free shops, brands, airlines, and the airport on one platform. My Duty Free is a startup from Ukraine, a country with the best engineering talents in the world. We have 18 people on our team with a background in airports operations, marketplaces, and tourism. The target for the next year is to create a global marketplace solution and to develop our product into a highly scalable, adaptable SaaS product that will help us to partner with hundreds of airports and create a global airports marketplace where people can benefit from airports offers all over the world. Thank you very much, and please come to My Duty Free table and get your Christmas present. Thank you.
Thank you, Katerina. This next presenter grew up riding horses in Kashmir totally offline and is now the CEO and founder of the world's first smart AI concierge for hotels. Please welcome Raj from GoMoment.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Plug and Play, for having us. Very excited to be here. To kind of get started, we created Ivy, which is the world's first smart concierge for hotels. We're the largest active concierge platform for the hotel and hospitality industry globally, and we are here to make a very simple promise. So we're here to create the best guest experience for the maximum number of guests using the best technology available, which is, of course, always evolving. And we've had a couple of national press mentions now, one of which I'd like to play for you now.
Box, and what does it mean to us?
A chatbot is Chatbot is Ivy. If you go to Las Vegas and you go to Caesar's Palace, you can sign up. This isn't obligatory. You can choose to. You can sign up on your phone and you can message Ivy. And Ivy is your personal digital assistant. If you need anything while you're at the hotel, you say, "Hey, Ivy, I need a cocktail. I'm by the pool." She'll send you one.
Come on.
Hey, Right? I see, I started with the things that really matter. She'll also send you some towels, and she can tell you checkout time. But it's a great way, and it's an AI-powered assistant, way easier than picking up the phone. People use it about 10 times more than
You could do this anywhere, or just...
In Caesar's Palace, within the hotel.
Just Caesar's Palace.
But they're rolling it out to other hotels. Vegas is a great place. They're very good at trialing some of the new technology.
That's amazing.
Right?
Mark, thank you. I love these. Thank you. I like the future of travel, don't you? Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
And there you have it. It's the future of travel, as you saw there. Since this clip came out in Q2 of this year, we've actually rolled out thousands of new hotel rooms, especially in the Vegas market, where we are the largest player. We're currently trusted by many public traded companies in the travel space, of course, and we're working with a number of corporate travel partners to bring this benefit of this ambient, smart concierge that can take care of anything that you need whatsoever, 24/7, from anywhere in the city. We're bringing this to all kinds of different travel contexts, and we are also thrilled to have been selected by Google as they're the only travel company that they've invested in at this point this year from the Smart Assistant Fund. We're also currently have an integration with Amazon Alexa type devices, Google Assistant devices, and are bringing this not just to the text messaging component, but also to every type of communicational channel that exists now and that will exist in the years to come. Our implementation model is tried and true. We've actually rolled out over 20,000 rooms already with Caesars Entertainment alone, which has garnered a lot of national press attention, and they're actually represented here in the room. And we would love to work with any of the other corporate partners. I know we are already engaged in a number of great conversations here. Please see us at our table in the startup area, and look forward to talking. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Raj. The next startup was selected for the Corporate Travel Innovator List by Skift and was on FocusWire's hottest 25 startup companies for this year. Please welcome Daniel from Shep.
Hi, good morning. My name is Daniel Steinyard, CEO and co-founder of Shep. So what Shep does is we help businesses manage, understand, and save on business travel that's booked where it shouldn't be on consumer sites. So your employees, before they start work and join your companies, they learn to book travel on these amazing websites that spend millions of dollars on creating very compelling and fun experiences. But in the company side, companies spend billions of dollars on travel. And so they bring in travel management systems and programs to try and manage this. But it's not a huge surprise that something as personal as travel, 50%, almost 50% of business bookings happen on consumer sites. So this is a problem because companies will have tens of thousands of travelers flying around the world at any moment, and they'll hire a corporate travel agency to try and manage this. But without access to this data, where people are booking business trips on consumer sites, they don't know where they are in case of emergency, and they're not able to make sure that people are spending the right amount of money, that they're following the policy. So this creates a huge data gap. So we solve this by being a simple browser extension that the IT department deploys across travelers' computers, and as soon as a traveler hits a consumer site, we pop up and allow the travel management to message and tell the traveler how much they're allowed to spend. And then when they're booking, we actually pop in from the side, capture all the booking data, and if they're out of policy, tell them and allow them to justify why they're spending more. This gives real-time visibility into what's being booked. All that data is then pushed into our own proprietary reporting, as well as into corporate travel agency or travel manager reporting, so everyone knows what's going on. We started off working with smaller, unmanaged companies, but in the last 2-3 weeks have started negotiating and doing early paperwork on pilot programs with global sports brands, wineries, oil and gas companies, as well as a co-working space, a global co-working space. We've got a few partners. Flight Center is the one we've announced. They're book $5 billion worth of corporate travel, and we're in negotiations and discussions with several others. And then we make money. The enterprises will pay us a transaction fee every booking, and then the supplier sites actually pay us a commission because we're facilitating more business travel bookings on these consumer sites. So today we're helping companies understand these bookings that happen on consumer sites. But in the future, we're already seeing signs of more progressive companies wanting to let their travelers make good decisions wherever they like. As long as they get the access to the data, the policy compliance, and the savings, then why force them into a bad experience? My team and I have been in, this is our second travel startup, and we are currently raising a $1.25 million bridge round. Existing investors include the ex-president of Travelocity Business, the first CEO of Sabre, and one of the SoFi co-founders. So I'm Daniel Senyard, and won't you join us as we use data to make booking business travel less painful and more personal? Thank you.
Thank you. This next startup has raised $40 million in funding with investors such as Alstom and Continental. Please welcome Sharad from EasyMile.
Everybody has the big question today is when are driverless vehicles really going to be put into useful operation? Well, EasyMile believes that is right now. EasyMile is the leader in commercial vehicle driverless technology with the ability to operate both with and without a safety driver. Our first product, the EZ10, is a 15-passenger all-electric shuttle that can run up to 16 hours on a single charge and is really applicable for business parks, corporate campuses, hospitals, and of course, airports. Both on the air side, where we can move employees from the parking lots to the terminal, moving passengers from gate to gate, or on the non-secure side with large parking lots, moving within the parking lots and up to the terminal. Our vehicle is based on two really standard principles. One is localization, which we keep the vehicle within millimeters of the route that we pre-program, and of course, obstacle detection. And you can see between GPS, LiDARs, radars, we're able to be one of the leaders in that space. Our vehicle does have a deployable wheelchair ramp, both autonomous or manual. We've integrated it with stoplights all around the world, and also have an easy fleet management system, which is vital for when you're doing fully autonomous systems to be able to remotely communicate with the vehicle, command the vehicle, and make sure that the passengers are comfortable from a remote supervision. Our vehicle technology is agnostic. This is a passenger vehicle, but we have a number of major OEM partners around the world that we're applying our technology to their manufacturing prowess, including Alstom, TLD, Iveco, and a major OEM in the 6-passenger van space. Our next vehicle that is now currently available is our Tracked Easy with TLD. The Tracked Easy is a combination of our technology and TLD's Jet 16 tractor. The tractor is capable of pulling up to 25 tons of metal, steel airplane wings, airplane engines, anything you can think of, including passengers as a tram, as you see like in amusement parks. This vehicle can also run up to 16 hours on a single charge and is really ideal for industrial centers. The reason we think this vehicle is great for airports and other places is the ROI from the labor savings and the fuel is under 2 years on a 15-year vehicle. So EasyMile, one thing we've been able to do in the last 4 years is achieve level 4 technology. And we've done that with a really simple philosophy. I was thinking that we are not going to be a mobility solution for all as an autonomous company, but we're very focused on pre-programmed specific sites, not dedicated, but specific closed areas. And really saying to our customers and our partners that we can change, we can really bring down your operating costs, improve your safety records, and overall bring you a very good return on investment through autonomy versus focusing on mobility. So thank you. We're always looking for partners for new projects and investors in those also. Thank you.
Thank you. This next startup was founded by 2 Israeli fighter pilots, and your presenter today was captain in an Israeli Air Force. Please welcome Oz from Climacell.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here today to talk to you about weather. At Climacell, we are the global leader of microweather. You can see some of our trusted partners and investors, including JetBlue Ventures. We are aiming to be the biggest and the major microweather platform in the world. Our vision is mapping all the weather data in the world. We call it microweather with global coverage, and I'll explain exactly how we do that. So before I dive into our solutions and products, I think this is the most important slide today. What is the problem? What is the challenge with the weather data we were accustomed to in the last 40, 50 years? So the whole industry is using the same weather data. That is coming from either satellites, radars, weather stations. We are presenting a new data set, and we're doing that using unique technologies. Now, our data set is unique not only the way we generate it, but also where it's captured, and that is on the ground level. When we go global, our solutions are even enhanced. They're software-based, and we are frog leaping different continents from 0 to 100 when it comes to weather sensing technologies. So I'm going to talk about 3 things today. The first one is the data, how we actually create new data sets nobody else can using proprietary software-based technologies. Afterwards, our model, and finally, the products. Let's start with the data. So on the left side, you can see we are also collecting everything that is publicly available. That is weather stations, radars, Dopplers, and so on. But then on top of that, we are fusing different data sets. We call them sensing technologies. And these technologies are, again, software-based. We are repurposing already deployed hardware, and with software, making it sense its surrounding when it comes to weather. We are then fusing all of those together to create one layer. This is the ClimaCell layer, which is the most accurate one. Today, I'm going to talk about one of those technologies. It's called the wireless networks. Basically, what we are doing is we are tapping into wireless networks. We are reverse engineering microwaves in those networks to learn about their attenuation. And from that attenuation, we learn about the precipitation type and intensity in that space. That gives us not only granularity, 500-meter resolution of precipitation type and intensity, but also, as I mentioned before, it's where that data is captured. And that is on ground level, where our businesses mostly are. So where the roads are, where the assets are, where the people, and so on. These are a few snapshots of our products, our aviation products. So you can see here, we can see the precipitation intensity and type. And I'll come back to the products in a second. Then we have the engine. The engine itself fuses everything together and obviously creates the forecast as well. And this is an example of the granularity we can get to. We can actually tell you what's the type of precipitation, when it's coming to your point of interest, and what's the timeline for that. That is a live example from this February. I'm almost out of time. I want to show you one last snapshot of our Hypercast specific solution for Logan Airport. You can see all the different features we provide our aviation customers. I'm not going to have time to walk through all of these, but bottom line is we are getting our customers the most granular weather data, and soon to be global. Please come see me upstairs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. You have 10 minutes, so we'll start the next presentation at 10:56. There's coffee and light breakfast in the back. Thanks. That's great. All right, guys. So we have the next 7 startups are also in the batch, and for the first session, those guys are also in the batch too. So please be sure to vote. If you guys need that URL again, just let me know, and I'll come bring it to you. But let me welcome the next startup presenting. She and her co-founder were named Austin, Texas's top young founders and innovators under the age of 25. Please welcome Daniela from TripLoop.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Daniela, co-founder of TripLoop. TripLoop is a communication solution for group travel. So what does that mean exactly? Let me tell you about a company that paid for a product before they could even use it. Academic Programs International, or API, is one of America's top 10 study abroad providers. They're responsible for coordinating thousands of students abroad each year. But as travelers have gone mobile, companies like API have stayed manual. And it's not just API. Over 70% of group travel providers lack a digitalization process. And this affects them because employees get overworked and managers get and travelers get poorly managed. So 80% of group travel managers take on average 2 hours or more to find someone in an emergency. And that's a problem. That's why API needed TripLoop. And this is what their trips look like now. They're able to track their travelers so they can find their groups in minutes in emergencies. They have centralized communication between travelers and the company, so customer support is reliable. And everyone has a real-time itinerary, so information is centralized. And since we all know that having internet abroad is such a hassle, we built TripLoop with an offline mesh network. And this allows travelers to communicate with and without internet. TripLoop is an integrated mobile and web platform that allows group travel providers to enhance safety, collect real-time data, automate trip creation, and centralize communication all with and without internet. In the past 9 months, and with just over 100,000 of initial funding, we have validated our product, we have partnered with 10 paying companies, and we're finalizing a partnership with Japan Travel Bureau, one of Japan's largest travel agencies. And although we focus mainly on student travel, we're already working with religious and corporate group travel as well. And we're hearing really great feedback, like you've nailed it. You even solved problems that we didn't realize we had. Our current clients represent 20,000 annual travelers, and on average, companies pay us $10 per traveler per year. So our current clients represent 200,000 in total revenue, in total reoccurring revenue for 2019. But we're just getting started. Over the past month, we have added 50 client companies to our active sales pipeline. And for 2019, we project a revenue of more than $1 million. And we will scale that revenue to $5 million and $10 million as we expand beyond the student travel market. We're already scaling fast. And to work with all the companies that need TripLoop today, we are announcing our seed round of $1 million. I invite anyone in here who's interested to please come to our booth and talk to us or email me directly. We are TripLoop, and we're revolutionizing group travel. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This next presenter is a serial entrepreneur, and his latest startup, other than a newborn baby, is Arrivia. Please welcome Arun.
Thanks, Jordan. Hello, everyone. Arrivia, plan less, celebrate more. It's an all-in-one online event management platform. Did you know that there are 5 most stressful jobs in the US? 4 of them probably are familiar to you. The 5th one is an event coordinator or planner job. It's a huge opportunity for us. It's a low barrier to entry. An event planner in any corporation has to go through multiple emails, phone calls, messages, and spreadsheets to gather information regarding the different vendor services and also plan their event. There's a lot of coordination to be done with vendors, and the existing solutions in the market are all point solutions, individual websites. This should be a better way. So we came up with Arrivia. You search, select, and check out. This is the main workflow. We have 50+ types of vendor services. And as organizations, you can have users find and book vendor services on the platform. We're focusing on the corporate market. The reason is it's a huge TAM, recurring revenue for us, and also fastest route to revenue. In 2016, $167 billion was spent on meetings and events. We are targeting the first 1% as our possible share of market. Our business model with the corporates, there's a 3% convenience fee, and we also have a commission based on the transaction. We are targeting 19K events with Arrivia by 2021. And we also have a subscription model. There's a vendor portal, which can be used by our vendors and venues to run their entire business operations from leads all the way to payments. So we'll be onboarding 3,000 vendors on the particular portal with an annual fee. Our current traction, we have corporate customers in Bay Area using our platform to book their events. Thanks to Plug and Play, we are in discussion with Carlson Wagonlit Travel and also Accor Hotels. We have existing customers here and with events and more events being planned. The key differentiators with our competitors, we're first to market with an integrated platform for planning and booking of vendor services. We are also adding in an event spend visibility layer through our reporting platform. It's also integrated with budgets, payments, and invoices. Our vendor marketplace has the top 1% of vendors across 50+ categories. And from our reporting layer, we can also bring in trends in 2019 for all the events that happen all over the world. We will be able to bring in visibility, compliance, and forecasting within any corporate. Our value proposition will be able to reduce the planning cycle time, increasing the conversion rate, and also reducing the conversion lead time for vendors. And to add to that, we have the real-time event spend visibility. Team, it's myself as the founder and a team of 20 people. This is the conclusion. We have a goal of making sure that event coordinator planner role doesn't feature in the top 5. Event planners can organize, automate, and innovate through Arrivia. Thank you.
Thanks, Arun. This next presenter was named 35 and 35 most influential people in travel tech by Focusrite last year. Please welcome Eric from Trill.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Shepard, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Trill. What if content creators were the next booking channel for travel brands? Enter Trill. Trill is a marketplace that converts social content into bookable travel experiences. Social content is not structured effectively for travel bookings. Our goal is to connect organic social content to booking partners. So why are travel brands working with us? We're driving direct bookings from organic social content. We're leveraging travel brands' social media to drive bookings. And we're giving them data and analytics on which content creators are driving ROI to their brands. So how it works for content creators. They sign up to Trill via their Instagram account. Our AI categorizes each piece of content and matches it with the best booking partner. We create a profile for each content creator with all of their bookable experiences, and we reward them with cash every time someone books off their content. It's a dual-sided marketplace. One side helps and monetizes content creators. The other side helps the traveler through the journey, find the next best experience. They could search by hashtag, trending destination. They could build a custom itinerary from this unique content, and they could book hotels, restaurants, and experiences through our platform. We just partnered with a company to launch a Chrome extension that appears on all travel sites, showcasing OTA versus brand price with cashback incentives on all direct bookings. These are all of our partners already, and we haven't even launched. They're all thrilled with our platform and very eager for us to launch next month. So we have a couple different revenue models. One is bookings off commissions. We're really focused on more of a marketplace SaaS fee, giving access to this network, helping drive direct bookings, and letting them have access to our data. We're also doing some white labeling for travel agencies. So this is what the typical funnel looks like. A content creator puts their Trill link on an Instagram story. We're seeing about 7% click-through rate. About 10% of the people that come to Trill every day are interested in clicking book now. It's still a little early for us to track the final conversions with our 90-day cookie day windows with our partners. We've been in private beta a couple months now. We have over 1,000 content creators. The cumulative reach is 30 million Instagram followers. We have over 50,000 pieces of bookable travel content, and we've generated over 30K in bookings with no marketing dollars and barely any site traffic in our private beta. We're raising our first round, 500K, convertible note, 3 million cap, 20% discount. Our team has over 25 years of combined travel and hospitality experience, and we're really excited to launch and bring Trill to life next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This next startup has gained tremendous traction in Europe and is now expanding into the US. Please welcome Guillaume from Destigo.
Hello, everyone. So since we are in the land of innovation and ambition, I thought starting with a big statement was the appropriate way. So at Destigo, what we want to achieve is to build a technology that can automate 20% of the workforce in the industry. Yeah, that's the statement. Then realistically, what we are doing at Destigo is we help travel companies automate their customer support and their sales process in the conversational era. So in the past 2 years, we all noticed that something is changing. Voice and chat-enabled system has been at the center of all conversations. And at Destigo, for a company involved in that space, the numbers don't lie. Those channels have double-digit growth in terms of usage month over month, and 70% of your customers expect you to be there for them. So it's an amazing opportunity. That's why at Destigo, we have built a conversational AI engine that allows companies to open conversations everywhere. So what does that mean? For example, on your website, we have the ability to implement a small widget that's going to be in the corner in order to answer most frequently asked questions automatically, but also to help the travelers book more easily and improve your conversion rate on your booking channels. On any sorts of messaging app or on your mobile app, simplify the UX with a conversational interface that can integrate with any of your existing services. And obviously, 1 home out of 5 in the US is equipped with an Amazon Alexa or a Google Home, so being present with the right technology on those speakers is an amazing opportunity for each travel company. So we started Destigo in Paris 2 years ago with Ilias and Pierre, my 2 co-founders, both engineers, after working for Booking.com, Expedia, and successful French companies. Today, we're a team of 35 people, incredible individuals with an amazing team of data scientists, top-notch profile, building our self-learning bot technology. We are very happy today to be considered as one of the leaders in the travel space. We work with amazing brands, including major airlines, travel management companies, rails companies, and our revenue has grown very much between 2017 and 2018. So we are very lucky because we're supported by amazing people, including, after a seed round, Partech Venture and Accor Hotel Group in France. Alex Lebrun is also a renowned tech personality that is helping us to have this technological edge in the market. And I'd like to end up with big news that we're going to announce in the next weeks. So new board members coming and a big Series A to expand in the US. So don't hesitate to come talk to us at the event afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This next company was founded in 2000 by renowned researcher Dr. Ravi Ahuja. Thank you. Please welcome Kevin from Optum.
Thank you. Hey, great morning to you. Again, my name is Kevin Stutfeld. I'm the Director of Airline Solutions for Optum, and it is my pleasure to present Optum to you today. Again, it was founded in 2000 by Ravi Ahuja. He's a MIT and Florida University professor who literally wrote the book on operations research, and has made his mission over the last 19 years to transform the transportation industry and optimize it through combining great usability in systems with his renowned mathematical models. We have businesses in a lot of different verticals. Sky is our airline business. It is an off-the-shelf product that we offer end-to-end network planning and scheduling solutions. We have a haul business, which is our trucking business. We have two. We have a B2B, which is for LTL carriers that optimize their networks and their routing. And we have a B2C business, which matches mom-and-pop truckers to loads that need to be hauled to make sure that we keep the trucks working efficiently. And finally, we have a rail business. We do hump yard simulation, crew scheduling, and network scheduling. We have 4 locations worldwide. Our headquarters are in Florida. We have development shops in Armenia and India, and a business office in Australia. And we have 275 nerds worldwide. And we do business with some very reputable companies that we're very proud to partner with. And this is Ravi's vision.
The future of transportation is where advanced algorithms will drive all operations with minimum human intervention. Imagine hundreds of driverless trains moving on a rail network, automated rail yards processing thousands of cars every day, airline schedules that evolve automatically based on real-time passenger demand, automated supply chains moving iron ore or coal from mines to ports to ships, driverless cars and cab networks carrying passengers where they need to go. These technologies used to seem like science fiction, but they're actually just around the corner. So join us as we transform the world through decision automation. Together, there's no telling what we can do.
Okay. It's focusing on the airline business just for a minute because that is by far our biggest growth vehicle. We've signed a partnership with Amadeus. They've invested money in us in addition to giving us our product support and our sales pipeline. So Amadeus is a huge presence in the business through GDS. And together we're developing the Sky Suite by Optum. Some highlights are already in production. Sky Max by Optum is a network optimizer. It's the only product in the industry that can optimize the flight times and the capacity at the same time while making sure that the passengers have connectivity at the hubs. We have a flight simulator and forecasting tools, and we have a general SkyWorks, which brings everything together. The suite as a whole generated an increase in revenue on a daily basis of 12.5%. 6.5% of that came from increased connecting revenue and 2.9% increase in itineraries. Our ask today is that we're looking for customers to launch Sky Slots and Sky Share, which are our code share and slot management tools, as well as we have a terrific team of curious and experienced optimized experts, low hourly rates, and we'd love to hear what your problems are across the transportation industry to help you optimize your profitability in your networks. Thank you very much. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Kevin. This next gentleman was a truck driver in Taiwan and is now one of the top startups in the luggage delivery space. Please welcome Lance from Lugagent.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lance. Lugagent is a logistics platform providing same-day luggage delivery to from airport and hotels in town. We solve the luggage problem for travelers who take the early arrival or late departure flights. Imagine that your flight landed Tokyo by 9 a.m. You expect to have a lunch or go meeting very casually. However, with your bags, you can only rush to your hotel, but still cannot check in. On the last day, you check out by noon and have a 9 p.m. flight. Wherever you go, you need to reserve 3 hours, go back to retrieve all your belongings. It wastes a lot of time and ruins all our schedules. Every year, there are more than 3 billion travelers. Half of them take this kind of flights. They face the problem. Lugagent provides a better solution. We deliver deliver your bag to from airport, hotel, train station, harbor, and shops in the same day. You can use the service in over 70 cities, more than 200 airports and train stations in the same delivery regulation and service procedure. We mainly sell the service to online travel agency, airline, and hotel groups. They can give away with their loyalty program or resell as an add-on service to make their product more attractive. So far, we deliver over 50,000 bags for our partners, and we never lose any bags. So we are undergoing the pre-A round fundraising for $1 million to expand our service. In the future, we believe by solving the luggage problem, we can create a much more potential market. For example, we have a lot of useful data, like the flight, the hotel client stay, and when do they want to check in, when do they want to check out. We know their location, their time budget, their consumption power. So we can build a data central and build a channel for all our partners to sell all their destination activities. And second, we will link with the airline check-in system and airport security system. So in the future, you buy an airplane ticket, luggage and check in your bag at your home or hotel. And at the destination, you don't need to wait by the carousel anymore. We pick up for you and deliver to hotel directly. We are creating an end-to-end service. So all you need to do is pack in your bag at home. Now, these airports and airlines are already launched or preparing for the service. Luggage agents are going to duplicate the model to all our service cities. We will define the future traveling and let everyone's adventure begin anywhere, anytime. Thank you.
All right, guys, so we have one more startup for the batch. So the first 15 startups in this next one you can vote on. Please be sure to vote. But this final company for the batch is a 4-year-old company that has reinvented customer service. Please welcome Jenny from Gladly.
Hi there, my name is Jenny Roy, and I run marketing at Gladly. As I mentioned, we're reinventing customer service. As Bonnie mentioned, we're also proud to be partners with JetBlue. And Gladly was founded on this idea that 20 years ago, this is how we communicated with each other, either on the phone, or in person. But fast forward to today, and there's many, many other channels, and this is probably only about 10% of the ways that everybody communicates with their friends and family and with the companies that they do business with. And so Gladly wanted to see how can we make that customer service experience better based on what we know today about the 21st century customer, the fact that people are always on, and they expect to talk to companies the way that they talk to their friends and family. The problem, though, is that the technology that existed before is all based on cases. So if you send an email, you call over the phone, you send a text, that each creates a separate case. And that results in customers feeling frustrated and having to repeat and recap their story every single time they start a new channel or talk to someone new. So we thought, what if we could reinvent customer service, knowing everything that we know today? We'd make it about 4 different things. One, it'd be about people. There's no case numbers, there's no ticket numbers, you put people at the center of it. And that way, agents can spend more time connecting with their customers than asking them for a case number. Second is all of those channels would all be in one place so that if you sent an email and then called 2 minutes later, that agent would be able to see that you sent that email. We also think about how to make agents productive. So we're working very closely with JetBlue, and they get to leverage one place for all answers, including, how big of a bag can I check, or how early can I check in. And then finally, we also think about superpowering those supervisors so that they have one system to work and be able to make their contact center super efficient. So we thought we'd share a little video to tell you how we're working with JetBlue. don't know if someone can help. Let's try one more time. All right, well, it's a really awesome video. You can email me. You can email me at jenny@gladly.com, and I will personally email it to you.
Good job. All right, so just to reiterate that, every startup that has presented to this point in time, please vote for. Now we'll have a few more startups that we're really excited about. This next startup is the Salesforce.com for the travel industry. Please welcome James from Peak 15.
Thank you. We are Peak 15 from sunny San Diego, and you could say I was born into the travel industry. In fact, I'd flown around the world before the age of 1. We take our name from perhaps the most famous peak on this planet, Mount Everest, otherwise known by Sir George Everest as Peak 15. Our Peak 15 is cloud software for tour operators, leisure travel agencies, and destination management companies that provides itinerary planning, sales, marketing, operations, accounting, reservations automation, again, all through a cloud service. We already count amongst our customers many of travel and leisure's world's best. Now, we believe that the lines between travel agencies and tour operators and destination management companies is becoming increasingly blurry. And we don't believe that the winners will come from one segment or the other. Instead, we believe that the winners will come from companies who recognize the need to nurture deep relationships with their customers, the need to curate exceptional experiences from their suppliers, and the need to focus their business model on generating gross margin, not pure commission. And they're going to have to learn how to harness technology as a weapon. There are an estimated 264,000 employees in the US in the travel agency and tour operator industries today. And that's across approximately 32,000 firms. Now, contrary to popular opinion, that number is actually growing quite nicely. In fact, there was recent research released by Focusrite just last week evidencing that. Our customers today pay us an average of $187 per user per month for Peak 15. So what do they get? Number one, they get increased top-line revenue. How do we do that? 1, data-fueled marketing. 2, higher conversion rates because they're able to generate high-quality proposals and itineraries faster. We also do that while reducing their expense ratio. How do we do that? Number 1, traveler self-service. Number 2, automation. And we do all of that while increasing customer service and satisfaction. So let me just give you 2 quick examples. We have one customer who's been in the business for over 20 years. Since 2010, they have doubled their sales with only a 40% increase in headcount. Even more impressive, a customer of ours who in 2 years alone has doubled the number of travelers with 0 increase in headcount. So at $187 per user per month, our worldwide market opportunity is approximately $1.8 billion a year. We're here because we're raising growth capital, $5 to $10 million that we'll be investing in sales and marketing, including international expansion, and also investing in R&D to create tools that allow our customers to onboard into the system themselves much faster. We also have targeted a strategic acquisition that we think in the mobile space that we think will accelerate our growth. To the corporate partners, we're also open to pilots. My email is james.oleonard@peak15systems.com. I'll be here afterwards. I'd love to talk to you more about our opportunity.
Good job. We'll take that. Thank you. This next startup is an advanced voice platform founded by first responders. Please welcome Desmond from Orion Labs.
Okay, thanks. My name is Desmond Crisis. I'm from Orion Labs. Orion Labs is an advanced voice platform. We were founded by first responders. I'll tell you just an idea of where we come from. We're not just for cops and firefighters and such, but that's where we came from. It was two people, Greg Albrecht and Jesse Robbins. Jesse Robbins is a volunteer firefighter who was the master of disaster for Amazon. Greg Albrecht is a medic working for the Red Cross, incident management, RockMed, and that sort of thing. And they had an interesting problem. In their data jobs at Splunk or at Amazon, if anything went wrong, you had to solve it really fast. But they come from public safety. So they said, we need the tools that public safety first responders have to solve these problems. And what they did was they didn't have a two-way voice platform to speak to their entire organization to be able to solve problems. And that's universal. So I will tell you that this presentation is brought to you by the sound of my voice. That is the way that we get things done. That is the way that all hospitality, travel, and many, many other verticals get things done. We talk to each other. And we have to find efficient ways to talk to each other to get jobs done. We've solved all of those problems. Every two-way system, legacy, traditional two-way radio systems, they're always bespoke solutions. I've been building them for 20 years. I put a repeater and some walkie-talkies in a place, and it works in that place. If you're an airline or you work in an airport, you have a different system for everywhere that you go. Well, the internet is here now, and we're going to disrupt a $15 billion market by doing it the way that we always wanted to do it. The system just works. We're carrier agnostic. We'll run on any carrier. Any way you can find the internet, you can talk to each other in a voice platform. We support a lot of different devices through different parts. Imagine this. It's really a voice communications cloud. We have a place on the internet where all the communications is done. We can support all of the different devices. We can bridge over to things like Slack. I can say, tell Slack I'm almost at the airport, and it will say into the Slack group that I'm almost at the airport. And then we make sure that we work everywhere. This is a diagram of how our platform works. We have language translator bots that answer you in real time. We can link into telephone systems, so if you don't have any device and you need to talk to your work group, you can simply get to it there. Interoperability with these legacy systems, because that represents an investment. This is an example of one of our devices. This is a push-to-talk phone. It's very common with first responders. This is another device. This is appropriate for hospitality. It's called an Onyx, and it's basically a push-to-talk voice badge that works on our platform. We have two exciting announcements real quick, and I'll show you because I'm running out of time. This is called the Sync. It's a standalone LTE device, so you can hand this to any employee, and they can function and communicate with any other employee anywhere in the world using the power of the internet. And to finish up, it's durable, reliable, scalable, and our announcement today is actually somewhat related to this, but also very important. We have met all of the scalability, security, reliability, and relevance requirements put forth by the FirstNet Association. So we're a FirstNet certified app on iOS, and we also sell to first responders, but we're perfect for all of the global hospitality and many other verticals. I have a booth in the table in the other room, and I'd love to talk to you. I'm Desmond from Orion Labs.
All right, guys, one more time for voting. If you take your badges and flip them over, the top link, type that into your phones, and you can vote by clicking voting. Does anybody have any questions on the voting? Okay, we'll get going. It's just like all the startups that are presenting today for travel will be under voting right now. All right, this next startup has been in stealth mode for the past 4 years. I'm pleased to announce Albert from Misapplied Sciences.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like you to imagine with me a hypothetical airport of the future. Imagine going up to a giant flight board, and instead of a list of 100 flights, you see only your flight information, but in big letters so you can see it from 50 feet away. The signs for your gate can be flashing so they're easy for you to pick out, and arrows light your path towards your particular gate. And as you're walking, the signs and displays can let you know that your flight was delayed and suggest places for you to eat and shop that are convenient for you. So the environment itself is tailored just for you. You don't need to look down at a smartphone. You don't need to wear a head-mounted display to see what you want to see. Now, that'd be really easy if you're the only person at the airport. The question is, with huge crowds of people, how can you have an environment be tailored to every single person at the same time? What you're going to need is a new display technology where every single person looking at the same display at the same time can each see different things. For 4 years, we at Misapplied Sciences have been building this technology, and now that future is here. We call it parallel reality. And the idea is every single person in a public environment can have their own unique parallel experience at the same time. For the rest of this presentation, I'm going to show you videos of our technology in action. So for the next minute and a half, don't blink. Here we have our first generation display. To any one person, it looks like a normal LED video wall. But when you have multiple people, or in this case, multiple cameras, looking at the same display from different positions, they're each seeing different things. The Dragon Dancer is just to show the views are actually taken simultaneously. There's no filters in front of the camera, no special lenses. You look at the displays with your naked eyes. Oop, I skipped the... Trying to get these AV systems right here. Here we have an array of mirrors pointing back at the same display. Each mirror shows what a different viewer would see from a different position. As the camera pans back, you can see in the mirrors that truly a crowd of people can be looking at the same display at the same time and each seeing different things. Our displays work for crowds ranging from tens of people up to thousands of people can be looking at the same display at the same time and each see completely different things. Here, again, we have multiple mirrors pointing back at the same display. We can also track people's phones so the viewing locations can be updated in real time to follow each viewer so each person gets a coherent, personalized experience through a space. So the content you see can be determined by an app running on the phone that you're carrying. This way, you can have a way to control the content that you see on the same displays that everyone is seeing at the same time in a public environment. This was just the tip of the iceberg of what we're capable of. So if you're interested in finding out more about how we can personalize experiences for your guests, come find me afterwards or email me directly at albert@misapplied.com. Thank you.
Thank you. This next startup, if you have been to San Francisco, I'm sure you've seen one of their billboards. Please welcome Duke from TravelBank.
Hello, hi, my name is Duke Chung, founder and CEO at TravelBank. It's a pleasure for us to be here. Thank you, Plug and Play. Every year, as many of you know, over $1.2 trillion is spent on global business travel. In the US alone, it's about $300 billion spent on primarily outsourced travel services to businesses. This is a business that's been around for many, many years and managed by some of the largest players, American Express, Carlson, many of them who are here with us today as well, along with hundreds of other smaller agencies that do over $100 million each, many mom and pops all over different regions, all over the world. The problem with this industry today is that three things. Number one, it's relatively expensive. You're paying for every phone call, you're paying for every email. You're paying for every support services. That's how the setup of this industry has been created. Second, a lot of the technology in this space is very old and very outdated. And so we feel there's an incredible opportunity here to create something amazing. And number three, many of these products, because they're old and outdated, they take a long time to get set up. The average implementation takes well over 30 days, and it takes an entire company and a lot of effort alongside of the consultants to get these systems up and running. And why can't these systems get up and running in less than 2 minutes? So we're here as TravelBank, the TMC 2.0, the second generation of these travel management companies. And what we've simply done is we've combined the best of both. We've taken the 24/7 support experience and taken our experience building great software. As you can see here, awards from Apple and other industry publications about how beautiful and great our products are, and can combine those experiences together into one really incredible experience. And for what we call a modern booking app, it really involves 5 different areas. Number one, we've created from the ground up a new generation of online booking tools. And we've combined that with the 24/7 travel support experience with a focus on chat, which I'm sure many of you guys know today is a primary focus. And in our clients, over 60% of people who ask for support help today use chat over phone and email. So why not simply be able to chat with your support agent on the go for business travel instead of having to pick up the phone and call them? And number three, we've created an automated expense report system that's combined into one seamless experience, all in one, and made it really easy that every time when you book something, you should be able to, within one click, submit your expense report and get your money back within 12 hours. And then finally, all the controls and the policies that you need to run your business today to manage all of the travel and all the policies and all the rules, they've all been pre-configured and built into the system for you to use very quickly. And finally, we have a new feature, what we call savings and reward incentives, which we can predict how much your trips will cost, and if your company chooses to reward you to save money, they can choose to share those savings with you if you can beat your budgets, and we'll show you an example of that. And so here's our product. After 24 months of launching this product, this solution works and was built originally for mobile because we realize in today's era, people are using their mobile phones to travel. But of course, you can go online on the desktop and book your flights and your hotels as well. And we've presented really beautiful analytics for the companies to track how much spend they're doing across each of these segments. We believe this is the beautiful experience that today's professionals want when it comes to business travel. In digging in a little deeper, what we've created is we've pulled together 400 airlines, we have 600,000 hotels, we have an integration with Airbnb, with over 4 million properties that you can book on there. We have pre-negotiated rates built in for small businesses because they may not have the ability to go negotiate their own rates, or we can go negotiate the rates for them. And finally, we're pulling together 40 car rentals and some exciting announcements with some of the new on-demand providers there as well. And then when it comes to the support, what we're really focused on is chat. And so you can see an experience of how that works here. You can chat within the app with your agents. And finally, for rewards, if you simply beat your budgets, you can see how you can earn up to 50% of whatever you save the company against the predicted trips. And we think we're just getting started. In the 24 months that we've started this business, we are now at 70,000 users across 7,000 orgs, and we have over 80 million contracts in the last 12 months. And we're just at the beginning of revolutionizing the travel management business. Thank you.
All right, this next startup, you're going to want to get your phones out. They create three-dimensional hologram fans. Take a sec to set it up really quickly. But please welcome Katie presenting DC Lab.
Hi, everyone. My name's Katie Powers. I actually work for a company called The Bright Group out of Las Vegas, but we represent DC Labs' product here. I've got about 3 gadgets to deal with, so. DC Lab is a manufacturer of the 3D hologram fan that offers you advertising without a screen. Sorry, I just need a glass of wine and I can have 4 things in my hand. Now I gotta get it up mobily, hold on. Okay. Here are some example videos of our single fan product. Oh, back there? Okay. You can also display on a larger platform using multiple fan connections. Here are some examples of using about 40 fans to display a single image.
Ma quanti siamo qua? Deve esserci un vantaggio in una tale vastità. Quale non si sa, ma di sicuro.
And here are some more video examples of multiple fan connections on a smaller scale. Product currently comes in 3 different sizes with an option of getting an acrylic cover to ensure, an enclosure to ensure safety. The software is with Wi-Fi control, so you can send any videos or pictures to the LED fan. Using a black background and a 1-to-1 ratio video with 3D content, it will present a vivid 3D and holographic display in the air, as you can see here. Now, I have it uploaded on my phone, which you can see to the right of these screens. I have a list. So what image? We have a jellyfish going. I'm just going to go ahead and put the Hulk up, just for fun. And you can switch it however you want in whatever sequence. So I'll just let that run. And then you also have a remote control you can use. You can turn it off or on. Is it stopping? There we go. And that's what it looks like. These are 4 blades. There we go. Okay, so on with our product. So this is our DC50S version, and it's the 2-blade. It's got a screen size of about 46.5 centimeters, power rating of 30 watts, 512 by 512 resolution using a 12-volt power supply. And this 2-blade also comes in a 65 centimeter. This is just an example of an acrylic cover option that you can put on your product, and it comes in, you can do custom shapes as well. It can be circular, square, whatever shape you need. So this is the DC65H. It's got a screen size of 65 centimeters, operates with 4 blades, power rating of 70 watts. It's a 720 by 720 resolution using a 24-volt power supply. The pixel resolution is actually similar to an HD. This is the DC100Z. It's got a screen size of 1 meter, operates with 4 blades. Power rating is 60 watts, 1024 by 1024 resolution. It's got a pixel resolution similar to Blu-ray or game console, which is in full HD, and it works off of a 24-volt power supply. Okay.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, so they can check you out at the demo table in the back. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Katie. All right, guys, and the last but not least startup. The next presenter is Max. He started his entrepreneurial career at the age of 8, where he was repairing discarded computers and then selling them. Please welcome Max from Asaya.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Max, and I'm the CEO and founder of Asaya, and our mission is to make the apron a more efficient, a safer, and more sustainable place. So to give you an example for this, this little parking damage in the back runs at around at least 20 million bucks of repair cost and is totally preventable. Ground infrastructure within the next 20 years will be more stressed than ever before. The global commercial aviation aircraft fleet is gonna more than double, and this will lead to a severe congestion and overcapacity and undercapacity at most of the airports around the world. These statistics already include all the expansion and enhancement projects that are already approved, so it still looks pretty dire. And you can actually already feel the precursors of this development, since there's a lot of delays currently, and it's gonna only increase in terms of the number. And a large number of these delays are actually related to suboptimal ground processes. So we're providing a set of AI that's capable of interpreting and understanding camera feeds from the ramp and turn them into structured data. The structured data can be timestamps. It can be alerts that allow you on the apron to prevent imminent incidents from happening. And we're also predicting the future, kind of, at least in context of certain processes. This is an example of our timestamping capability. We're using the video stream from the ramp to monitor the 787 turnaround, and you will get automatic, reliable, and objective timestamps for every process that's happening during this turnaround. A second aspect that we're featuring is our safety-related capabilities. So we have a full awareness of where specific objects are on the apron, and we know the status of these objects. So in this example, it's important because I know there's some frogs from Delta in the audience. I want to make it very clear, this is not the fault of the Delta pilot. It's actually the fault of the poor guy who's driving the back tug in the back of the plane, even though the engine is running. He shouldn't do that. So how are we leveraging this technology against business value for our customers? To give you one example, we piloted our real-time dashboard with a EU flag carrier back in the old world. And this real-time dashboard allows them to decrease the number of turnaround coordinators they need for a given turnaround from 1 to 0.3, which will save them anywhere between $1 and $3 million per year once this is fully rolled out. We've been able, for example, together with the largest ground handler in the world, thanks Florian, to validate our technology and ensure that it works in adverse conditions, adverse weather conditions, adverse light conditions. And we're now rolling out pilots all around the world to get a better business validation and understand even better what are the best use cases to leverage our technology against. We're currently bootstrapped out of liquidity events that the serial entrepreneurs behind the companies had in the past. Together, we've built 3 companies in the past, generated more than $100 million in shareholder value. And we're now raising anywhere between $500,000 to $2.5 million to accelerate our business growth and to fulfill our mission even quicker, which is making the apron a more efficient, a safer, and more sustainable place. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So before we do the startup voting, we want to give Gladly a fair chance. I think the video is working now. If we could just show the video before the voting finishes. Thank you.
Danielle, don't worry, we found your dress.
All right, so 30 more seconds for the final votes if you haven't voted already, and then Angela Shi is going to announce the startup winner of batch 6.
All right, looks like we have all of our votes in. So the startup winner is Shep Daniel, our corporate travel disruptor. Actually, sorry. Is it this one? Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
If you want to say a few words on stage. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it, guys. Totally unprepared here on bright lights. But yeah, being part of Plug and Play has been amazing. It's been an amazing 3 months. We're based out in Austin, and coming out here for a week every month has been great, getting to know everyone and sort of networking and meeting all the partners. So really, thanks to the Plug and Play team. And thanks for voting.
Congrats, Daniel. And last but not least, as you guys know, with each batch, we give out Corporate Innovation Awards. This year, we're very happy to give the award to one of our more recent corporate partners who pulled off something amazing. And you will know when he takes the stage, he can talk about what they achieved in the last accelerator program. So this batch 6 Corporate Innovation Award goes to Flight Centre, and I would love to invite Paul to come up here and say a few words.
Congratulations. Wow, the lights are bright up here. So we've been a partner with Plug and Play just about a year now, and in that time, we've had a ton of conversations start. We've got several POCs with people in the room. Really proud to see our name in some of these presentations, which is really cool. Batch 5, we were actually able to recently close a full acquisition of one of the startups that were in Batch 5 called UMaps. Fantastic product, fantastic company. Really fits right within our model and addresses a current need. So it's been awesome so far. We're looking to do a lot more with the startups in the room. Very active investor. We've done over 20 deals in the last few years, and now we're really excited to have a close tie to the startup community. So thanks, everybody.
Last but not least, again, I wanted to thank the keynote speaker, Bonnie Simi, and the panelists. I thought it was a very, very intriguing panel. I wanted to thank the corporate partners, the startups, and we're gearing up for batch 7. Hopefully we'll be, if not as good, better than batch 6. And also the Plug and Play travel team and everybody behind the scenes who made today's event happen. I know we had some technical glitches here and there, but overall, I hope you guys enjoyed it, walking away with some inspiration, and very much looking forward to having you guys back for our next batch. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for participating. Lunch is going to be served now. It's actually taking place right behind here, but I believe you have to go out and kind of loop around the building to reach the lunch area. And then for the corporate partners, we're also going to be serving lunch on the 3rd floor in the auditorium at 12:30. Thank you so much, guys.